Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Lavender, aka Ayana, and today we're going to talk about all the books I read in March. And my first book is a romance novella that published on Kindle Unlimited on March 1st of last year, 2025. The book is called The Forest by Abbie Jimenez. Here is the blurb. It's Valentine's Day weekend and Charlotte and Seth are not looking for romance. Armed with emotional support bear spray, Charlotte is self-imposed isolation and on guard for men. Having a stalker can do that to a person's nerves. Just across the hall and giving off woodsy vibes is Seth, a recently divorced arborist, as in today, recently. Heights, he's fine with. Trust, not so much. But when disaster traps him one flight up and no way down, an outrageously precarious predicament forces a tree-loving guy and a rattled girl next door to embrace their captivity. Soon their defenses are breaking away, considering how close they are both to the edge. Charlotte and Seth could be in danger of falling in love. The Goodreads rating of this book is 4.06, that's the average. It has 193,772 ratings, 20,282 reviews, and currently 20,682 people are currently reading the book. I read a total of 81 pages, and I read it on March 1st for one day. For the plot, I give it 5 stars, characters 5 stars, writing and pacing 5 stars, world/setting/ having enjoyment of it is 5 stars too. Relationships is also 5 stars. My overall rating is 5 stars. Here is my review. Abbie Jimenez made this story from the bottom of her heart. This book was fun, then getting into the little conflict of Charlotte having to deal with something deep tugged on my heartstrings. Seth tells Charlotte, sometimes the start of something good begins during something bad, he said. We don't get to pick when these things happen, and I see that it's a great quote, and I loved it, and I love this book, and I recommend it. Now it's time for the second book. The second book I read in the month of March is Howl by Meg Alivien, a book I read on Kindle Unlimited. Here is the blurb. In the small town of Shadow Hills, Tennessee, paranormals and humans coexist on charming cobblestone streets. For tourists, it's the perfect place to visit and experience Halloween all year round, but for Reagan Baker, it's home. Living among werewolves, vampires, and other beings unlike herself is perfectly normal, and besides the small town drama, Reagan's life is peaceful. She's happy working at the local bookstore Bound and Buried, and spending time with her 2 best friends, Jamie and Joanna. However, after a scary incident with an ex-boyfriend, things with Jamie starts to change. Suddenly, Jamie is no longer just the sweet friend Reagan has known and loved since she was 16. Now he's sexy and incredibly protective of her. But Jamie is harboring a deep secret. Sure, he's been in love with his best friend since high school, but he's also a werewolf. The grudge he's held against the inner monster that stole his autonomy has dictated his life for far too long, and it's time to come clean. Once the secret is out, both Reagan and Jamie will be forced to face all of their worries and fears head on, as well as their hidden feelings for one another. But where do they even start? I read 252 pages. I read the book from March 9th to March 12th, so it took me 3 days to read this book. The Goodreads average rating is 3.54. It has 2,204 ratings, 344 reviews, 475 people are currently reading it, and 1,651 people want to read. And next is the formula values that make up my rating for this book, which is plot, character, writing, pacing, world/setting, enjoyment, and relationship. For plot, I gave it a 4, character 4, writing 5, pacing 4.5, world/setting 4.5, enjoyment 5, relationships 4. My overall rating is 4.5. Now here is my review. I haven't read a werewolf book consistently since like 2017. I read one in January of this year, 2026, and it got me to read more. I liked the story, it was cute, and it did deal with some sensitive topics, but it wasn't too sensitive. There was a little spice, which wasn't bad at all, but overall it was short and fun, and I liked it. So that was my review of Howl by Meg Alivien. Okay, the third book I read was The OtherWorld by Abbie Emmons, and I only got 50% through the book because for some reason, I don't know what was it, but I was just not enjoying it. But for now, I just soft DNF it, so maybe I save it for next year or something. But other than that, I have nothing else to say about The OtherWorld. This is my third official read book of March, which is Bride by Hazelwood, which is 396 pages. I read the book from March 19th to the 21st, so it took me 3 days to read the book. The average Goodreads rating is 4 stars. The number of ratings it has is 723,081. It has 116,183 reviews, and 18,877 people are currently reading. The formula values that make up my rating for this book is plot, character, writing, pacing, world setting, enjoyment, and relationship. For plot, I gave it a 4.5. For characters, I gave it a 4. For writing, a 5. For pacing, 5. For world/setting is a 5. Enjoyment was a 4.5. And relationships is a 5. My overall rating was a 4.75. Here is my review. Hazelwood can do no wrong in my book. I love this book so much. There were some very minuscule things I didn't like, but it's a personal thing and didn't interfere that much with my rating. I love the concept, and I agree with those who love this book. A werewolf and a vampire being together is fairly new to me. It's always a werewolf with a human or a vampire with a human. The last 100 pages were a blast. Plot twist was a little predictable, but when it happened, I was still shocked. Allie had me crying for 4 seconds before being happy or angry again. This book was almost perfect, so 4.75 stars. The last book I read in March was Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. I read 336 pages. I read the book from March 27th to March 31st. So it took me 4 days to read the book. The average Goodreads rating is a 3.75. There were 41,541 ratings, 6,522 reviews, 1,632 people are currently reading it, and 73,213 people want to read the book. For plot, I gave it a 5. Character, writing, pacing, world/setting, enjoyment, and relationships, all of them were 5. My overall rating is 5 stars. Here is my review. Everyone knows I'll read anything Lynn Painter puts out, and Made for Each Other is no exception. I enjoyed it a lot and had one of my favorite tropes, which is fake dating. I love the 2 main characters, and the ending flew by so fast. It's funny, and I love the premise. Now it's time for my reading stats of March. So in March, I had 2 books in the 5-star range and 2 books in the 4-star range. I softly enough 1 book, which was The OtherWorld by Abbie, Emmons. My average rating for all the books together is 4.82 stars of this month. I read 4 books this month. The shortest book was The Forest by Abbie Jimenez. The longest book was Bride by Hazelwood. The total pages I read was 1,065 pages. My favorite book of the month was the novella The Forest by Abbie Jimenez. So these are the final books I read in March. The Forest by Abbie Jimenez, Howl by Meg Alivien, Bride by Hazelwood, and Made for Each Other by Lynn Painter. So those are all the books I read in March. Next video is going to be my April TBR video. The song of the day is Kelsey Ballerini's song, I Hate Love Songs, and I'm going to have the link to it in the info card right here. And thank you for coming on this journey with me. See you next video. I love you all. Have a great week. I love you all. Bye.